I'm Patrick.
This is Will.
And I'm Chris, and we are Guys with Issues. And today is more organized than last time. Well, I should say straightforward. It's more straightforward than last time.
We're never
last time
not organized.
Was organized. There was just a smattering of different things. We had decided we had how many storylines last time? Yeah, there was like 8 in total or something. Yeah, I know we said like 30 something. I think it was a joke. Out of 15. We gave it like a 37 out of 15 or something.
Something like that.
Something like that.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. Did you listen yesterday?
I have not finished.
I didn't get to the ratings yet. But I mean, like I did the first 2 times I listened, I think.
Sure.
But anyway, today we are talking about Spider-Man Blue.
Yes.
Not to be confused with Daredevil Yellow, Hulk Gray, or Captain America White. Also in that line. Those are all real.
Did they?
It was a series.
Did they make the whole rainbow?
No, that was it.
Oh.
Gray, yellow, blue were the originals. And then white was supposed to come out. It never happened. And then years later, like when I was already going to chimps and doing stuff, like white came out.
Oh.
Yep.
That's fun.
And this is one of the creative teams that I really like, which is Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, who did Long Halloween and Dark Victory. And Jeff Loeb also did Hush and a bunch of cool Batman stuff. So, this is them working on Spider-Man.
Looking at Pat's shelf, he did Batman, Dark. Oh, you already said that.
I did. That's the sequel to Long Halloween.
We still need to get that.
That's still so weird to me.
I have it.
Well, bring it over, leave it.
Look at that.
Forget
You're
about it,
two
and then
halves
I'll
to
have
a
I usually
whole.
do.
I have both. See, look at that. You got one of you has one has the other, and I have both. That's just how it works.
Will, with
Pat.
our powers combined, we are one Christopher.
Nah, you're way more than one, Christopher.
I think he's calling us fat.
Not when it comes.
Wow. Wow.
I mean,
That was not what I was doing.
I am
You are what?
fat.
No, stop that.
It's
Well,
true.
Hey,
You are now less fat than you were before.
That is also
substantially. Can we celebrate that on the podcast? Should we tell people
true. Whatever.
that like over the last year you've dropped like 50 pounds and
Yeah.
you're still dropping?
Over the last 2 years, I've dropped like 80.
That's a big deal, man.
It happens.
What? It happens.
I mean,
some people never experience that.
Yeah.
That's
Some
cool.
people never need to.
Yeah, I was referring to people who do that don't
Oh.
experience. I like that you're like, yeah, because they'd weigh like 40 pounds.
And that's not healthy.
Oh, they experienced it when they died.
Yeah.
No, that's exciting. I've been excited. I have been your cheerleader of late. I'm always excited to hear.
Yes, this is my excited face.
Yeah, I know. For those of you who, aren't in this immediate room, his face was rather unchanged.
As it usually
true.
is. Pat
But-
rarely ever changes his face.
I don't.
Yeah,
So this isn't a face-off situation.
Ooh, yeah. John Travolta and Nick Cage
That's
tell
right.
you about that. Wow.
Such a dumb movie.
What do you mean? That's how people do it in real life. They just take their face off and put on somebody else's.
It's not true.
Be undercover.
No.
Deep cover. Yeah. Oh no, we might have spy hunters around here again.
It's Will.
Check the closet.
What if it's not Will because he faced off?
Yep.
I mean,
If he's more amiable than usual, we'll know.
so we're not getting into face-off. We're really not. Oh, man.
And this is what happens when we don't plan banter.
This is what happens when we don't plan banter.
No.
Oh, that's funny. But does anybody have anything they did in the last week like that was interesting? No?
I have listened to the first 2 books in the Traveler's Gate trilogy.
Oh, Will White's
Will White.
original series that he was inspired to write because he loved Wheel of Time and Sanderson's
It definitely
The
has
Kings.
Cosmere. Oh,
Way of Kings.
Way of Kings.
I was like, that King's book.
Not Mistborn.
No, I don't believe so.
I just smack him around for that.
So what were you saying, though? It has what?
It
Words.
It has words, and they are being spoken by a man.
Paragraph.
Are
And
they
I
strung
listened to
together?
them. Yes.
Are you listening to Travis Baldry read it, or are
Yes.
you listening to Will White read it, which is the original audiobook?
I didn't find that one
I'm pretty sure they took it down once they had Travis Baldry
Yeah.
re-record it.
because the only ones I found on there were the Travis Baldry ones.
Yeah, I
But,
had it when it was Will White, I think.
Yeah, it's been really good. Did you guys ever?
I started the first book.
Oh, okay.
Have you?
I've
Have you
thought
tried
about it, but
You
I've
started
been
his other
rather-
series.
Rather busy. Yeah,
His, whatever that's called.
right, and I read the wrong one first.
You read the second one first.
Right,
So now you think the antagonist is the protagonist.
and it is
Because it can be.
100%.
That was why he wrote it like that,
yeah. And then I never went to the other one.
though.
Wait, didn't I?
I don't know.
Shoot, I don't know. I've slept since then.
So, what do you think? I've read some reviews on them, and some people say that if you first went through Cradle, because these are like his first books, the pacing is more breakneck even than
Oh,
Cradle.
it is. It is
Like there's no
super-
breathing room.
Super fast. Everything's happening all at once, and I don't mind it because I'm kind of used to that kind of style of his writing.
Yeah.
But like, it's funny enough that I don't care that I get whiplash while listening.
It has a lot of humor.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
Okay.
got some
I
good.
didn't know that.
It's got some. I was listening to it while I was working at my desk, and thankfully nobody was in the room because I started laughing out loud.
I've done that a couple of times.
And I'm
I've
like,
done that
man,
listening to us before.
like
That's because we're hilarious.
we can be.
my office is like completely quiet, right? And so it's just like if everybody else had been there, I would have just been like me laughing out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
I'm like, kind of glad everybody kind of just up and left for some reason.
And they were like, quick while he's not looking.
Unfortunately, there is a camera, so like opposite me, up against the wall, because they gotta like keep track of who comes in and goes out, whatever. And so like if somebody went back and watched that, I would just be sitting there at my desk, looking at my computer, then all of a sudden just start laughing. For whatever reason, I thought about that. It made me laugh even more because I'm like, I probably look like a psycho.
I don't think people who just start laughing randomly look like psychos. They probably just thought of something funny.
I guess it depends on how long you laugh.
There's that. There's definitely that.
And maybe the face you make during the length of laughing. If it exceeds several minutes,
Oh, it wasn't like that.
then I think that's when people get concerned. Or if like you quit what you're doing, like if Will would have gotten up from his desk, continuing to laugh at the same intensity the whole time,
Sure.
and like walked around or something
Right.
like
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
But yeah, like if it's just like oh, that was funny, I can't imagine you looked that crazy.
No, probably not.
But well, that's cool. So you said did you finish the second book then?
Yes, I finished the first 2 and I just started the third one.
Yeah, because they're fairly short.
Yeah, I think the book 2 is like 14 hours. I think the first one was maybe 8.
It sure ain't no Wheel of Time. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know. Where one book's like 35 hours.
Right. I told somebody at book club 2 days ago that they were thinking about getting into it, and I said I prefer to listen to it than read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said, all right, well, I'll start that. I was like, all right, well, it took me about 9 months to get through all of it, and that was listening like 2 to 2.5 hours a day.
of nothing else.
Right.
Like you only listened
I
to
only
that.
listened to it. Actually, it might have been more like a year and a half. Now that I think.
Well, if you think about it, even if you listened 2 hours a day, that means it would take over a week to get through probably the shortest book. It'd take like 2 weeks to get through the shortest book, probably.
Probably.
And there's 14.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 weeks. So you are talking about at least 6 months judging off of the shortest time.
Right.
So yeah, it would have had to have been like 9 months.
Yeah, I think it was 9 months. So.
And that was if you could consistently listen to that much
Right.
every day.
Right.
Wow. No, I listen. Nope. I'm on book 5 of that, but I'm also listening to like 4 books at once right now. Not all at the same time, but like intermittently.
I like how he knows our sarcasm at this point, so he automatically corrects himself to,
Right.
to like sarcasm
We
block
were
us.
both going to do it.
Yeah, I know all of your terrible, sarcastic pun jokes that are going to come out of your mouths anytime I say anything that could mean 2 separate things. So I have to immediately keep going.
You're welcome.
He's like, I can't stop breathing. I can't
It's
stop
like
talking.
the equivalent of reading panels of Batman hand-to-hand fighting people. it's like, but it's in my brain
Right.
for your comment.
Right.
In his mind, he's doing hand-to-hand combat against our sarcasm.
That's funny. That's a funny picture. I like it.
Yeah.
So, I too am reading quite a bit lately, both
Oh, yeah?
with my eyeballs and with my ear holes.
Oh, nice.
So
I love reading with my ear holes. Probably my favorite form of reading.
Me too.
I am listening to a few things and I'm reading a few things. I've been reading a lot of Batman. I cut this out of a previous issue, and but I've read through the Tom King Batman run, and I went on to the James Tynion Batman run that continues that, and I'm on issue like 106 or something right now of the whole thing. And it's been good. It's had some good tie-ins. I read a few things today that were during it that aren't directly tied in. I started listening to something that's very uncommon for me because it's a character piece, not a plot-driven narrative.
No.
And I'm really enjoying it.
What?
Get out of here.
Who are you? And what
He
did you do with
is
Chris?
the spy.
My face is off. No, I've been reading with my eyeballs and listening with my ear holes to Pride and Prejudice. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm like, I'm gonna read another Jane Austen after this, I think.
There you go.
So I've been enjoying that. But no, it's super. I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying it.
That's good.
Yeah,
Somebody you can talk about that with is my sister. Who works.
Jessica.
Yeah, she has read it multiple times. She's read all.
Knowing her, that does not surprise me.
I think there's 2 or 3 books in Pride and Prejudice, isn't there? Like there's
Well,
Pride and Prejudice, and then there's
so there are books that she wrote that have similar vibes but follow different people. But you're probably thinking of Sense and Sensibility as one of
Maybe.
them.
Sure.
There's also Emma. Those are all films as well. All
Oh
three
yeah,
of
I know.
those.
I've had to watch Pride and Prejudice a few times.
Strapped down, eyes glued open.
Yeah. It's like, family movie night. What are we gonna watch? And
Jessica's
Mom
like,
and the girls want to
let
watch.
me choose.
And then one time we watched Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Did they make that into a movie?
I thought they did.
I know it's a book.
I mean, I watched and read Forrest Gump.
Oh, yeah. So did you decide? Do you like them both differently, or do you prefer one over the other?
I like them both differently because they are.
You said
different.
they're very different,
They
right?
They are pretty different.
That's interesting. Do they have a similar spirit? Would you say they feel similar?
Yes, but Forrest isn't the same in them.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Can you
Forrest-
explain?
Forrest is the bad guy in the Jenny relationship in the book.
What?
Whoa.
He
Plot twist.
does a bunch of drugs and
What? Tom Hanks did not portray that very well.
no, he didn't. He doesn't do all the running. Like the running thing isn't even, other than he was fast on the football field. That was the only time they really brought up running in the book. He also, did I tell you about the wrestling thing that he did?
No.
Yeah, he played the dunce as a wrestler.
Okay.
He went to outer space.
What?
He crashed in Africa and lived with cannibals for 4 years. He befriended the monkey that they sent up with him
To space.
to space. He did a chess tournament. And it was more shrimp farming than it was just going out and catching shrimp.
Shrimp boating.
Right.
What?
Yeah. And I'm sure there's stuff that
Wow.
I'm missing. But he failed out of college.
Did he go to Nam?
He went to,
Okay.
he did that.
So
Lieutenant Dan isn't the same.
I
It's
thought
like they
you were
took a
going to say
bunch of,
isn't in there.
no, they took a bunch of, Lieutenant Dan wasn't his lieutenant in the war.
No?
He was just somebody he found at the end who was in, maybe, I don't know. But he kind of hung out with him during his wrestling days.
What?
Yeah, and yeah,
This is
Wow. That is wild.
You know how the movie Willy Wonka is very different than the book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory,
never read the book.
and
Didn't
the
know that.
movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Johnny Depp is very different than the movie Willy Wonka, but it has more akin in certain aspects to the book.
Okay.
Did you? Okay, kind of.
I had no idea about any of that. I'll
Okay.
take your word on it.
So what I'm hearing is, even though Forrest Gump is like this like classic film at this point, right?
He also
like
played the harmonica. Sorry, that was another big thing.
oh.
In a band multiple times.
And then they got chased. They were on the run,
Right.
and they ended up playing "Man of Constant Sorrow," right? No, I'm just kidding.
Not
Is that why he
necessarily.
went to space?
He
He's
also
like, I need to get away. He's a rocket. Let's get out of here, monkey.
No, because he was really good at math. He was the backup computer to the onboard computer for doing flight adjustments. That's why he went to space. He also didn't.
I'm sorry, I'm just.
He also never married Jenny. She was married to somebody else, and he met his son for like 5 minutes, and that was it.
Wow. So he is not a good guy.
He sent all of the proceeds that he was getting from the shrimping business. They never called it bubblegum shrimp. It was just the shrimping business. To Jenny after he learned that he had a son. But he never saw him again.
Did he sit on a park bench and talk about chocolate?
Nope. That phrase isn't even in the book.
What this tells me is that
Life is a lie.
somebody read a book and went, we could make a movie like that, but really not like that at all.
Oh, he was also in a film. He got an acting part as a Swamp Thing type monster with Raquel Welch.
No wonder they can both exist in their own space, right?
In my head, yeah. And they were
Yeah.
they were different. I mean, you could see where they pulled the inspiration from with the movie, but
yeah.
No, they were.
So they basically just took the character, like the idea of the character,
The idea of a character like that doing
and then they just
adventurous
said,
things.
they said, what do we want him to do?
Right.
And they kept like some really base, like the shrimp thing and the Vietnam thing.
Pretty much.
They just
Wow.
reused all the names and
I also have been listening to a book called Sufficiently Advanced Magic.
That you haven't really been enjoying.
No.
Have you?
The thing
read it?
is,
No?
no,
We've talked about it.
He told me on our drive over for board game day. He's like, Will, I'm not entirely convinced I like this book.
I think he's becoming more and more convinced that he doesn't like it the further he goes.
I want to like this book. I really do. The concepts and stuff it has in it, great. Magic system, nailed it down because he won't stop talking about it.
It's sufficiently advanced, is what I've
It
heard.
really.
Sufficiently explained magic.
So there you go. That's, but like if this book was half the size it is, I would probably enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah, because you were telling me that it was like things are happening, but nothing's happening. It's like just like every day-to-day kind of
Yes.
stuff where it's, yeah, like nothing is actually progressing. It's just the guy trying to like live life.
Yeah. So
Or
one of the
whatever.
main driving forces in this book is his quest to find his brother. In the 15 some hours I've been listening to this book, that's came up like twice.
Even though it's supposed to be like a focus.
Of his, yes.
Well, I know when I focus on something, I only bring it up once every so often.
It's just
Maybe he has ADHD.
it's possible. Maybe you would enjoy this book immensely.
Maybe
don't
he's
know.
just like, oh yeah, I'm looking for my brother. Here, I got distracted and started working on this other thing.
But I'm going to finish it because I'm invested enough at this point. I kind of want to see what happens.
But you don't think is it a series?
It is a series.
So you probably won't continue.
It depends on how this one ends. But if I start the next one and it is the same stuff, I will not finish it. Because I'm hoping this is just a bunch of like lore dump, and the next one will be faster and more focused. But if that's not the case, I'm out.
Peace.
Peace.
Oh. Okay. Sorry. I don't want to interrupt.
That's it. I'm done.
Okay. Will did have one other thing to share.
Did I?
He went to his first hockey game.
I saw a face-off.
Nice.
I saw a few of them.
You saw a lot of face-offs.
I saw a lot of face-offs.
And some people who wanted to rip faces off.
Yeah, and I saw some faces bouncing along the
funny.
The guard plastic.
Yeah, so like the glass, the plexiglass that's up. There was one time where somebody was being pushed into it, and they were still like going with each other. Normally they get checked, and it's like one spot.
Sure.
But this was a continual, and so at each guard separator, at each plexiglass guard separator, they're like face masks would clink. So they came by, and it went clink, 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 clink. It was like something out of a movie. It was funny. But yeah, it was a really good game.
It was super good.
Yeah, we saw Notre Dame and Michigan State. And did you know that they lost the next night?
Notre Dame?
Yeah.
I did not
So
know.
the night we saw it, they won 4-1, and it was a really good game.
Right.
The second night, they lost 2-4. Or if people prefer 4-2, because you're always supposed to say the higher number first. But if I'm talking about the team specifically, I don't like to.
Right. You're fine.
But anyway.
I don't care.
But yeah, they lost the next night. So we chose the right night to go.
Oh, we went.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
It was fun. Awesome. We had a really good time. And it was, I've been to a lot of Notre Dame hockey games over the years, like over many, many years. And that may have been like the best one I've ever seen.
Sweet.
So yeah, it was his first one, and he had a good time.
Amazing.
Yeah. That is what happened.
Yeah. So we had to point that out.
Oh, yeah, we did.
So, Spider-Man Blue.
Spider-Man.
By Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. And this is, it was nice to have a contained little story. I thought so.
It was.
It was very convenient that it was 6 issues long. Because ours, don't we usually use 6?
Yeah,
We
I mean,
tried
a lot of comics, especially if they're standalone stories, I would say many of them try to do 6 or less. But once in a while, like one I read today was 9 issues. It's called Heroes in Crisis. It was really good, actually. It was a murder mystery.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, you gonna synopsis our synapses?
Oh, you know it.
Okay.
So, Peter Parker, a.k.a. Spider-Man, has graduated from high school bookworm to college ladies' man. After beating the Green Goblin so hard he forgot who he was, Peter tries his hand at courting the beautiful Gwen Stacy. Wait, what?
We didn't read the email.
Oh, are we going to do that now?
I usually do it before the synopsis, don't we?
We've been bouncing around.
All right, whatever.
That's fine.
Well, I'm going to
We're
continue.
gonna. You didn't clear your throat.
Oh, I didn't clear my throat.
Okay, fine. Start over. No.
If you want to, clear your throat, start over. You can cut all that.
Oh, I don't want to cut stuff.
Then we'll just continue to leave this all in. Things get complicated when Mary Jane Watson comes sauntering through the front door. Ignorant of both their feelings, he continues to screw up his chances with them as he faces a gauntlet of weird men dressed as animals who all want him dead. But who is this mysterious figure in the shadows pulling the strings of Spider-Man's demise? Find out today on Guys with Issues.
Like the threads of a web.
Yes.
Okay. Do we want to read the email before we get talking?
It's up to you.
We could. That's
Okay.
fine. We can do it because then this keeps us from forgetting.
Yes.
So even though this may be a little bouncy,
Swingy, like it's,
Spider-Man, it's a pendulum.
physics.
We just go with it. We did get an email. Who's reading it? Should I read it? Should Will read it?
Will should read it.
Okay.
Oh, more of Will reading.
It's to him.
I know. That's
So
why you should
what?
read it.
Yeah, I'm going to spoil and say it starts with Dear Synopsis Will.
Oh, dear.
Synopsis, Will.
Dear Synopsis Will, though I do not retract my previous comment about your... do I just say it?
I can beep it.
Though I do not retract my previous comment about you out on sandwiches, you may have chosen wisely by missing out on shoestring fries. I am totally with you about fries. I too prefer a more substantial fry with more to chew and a crispier experience. Maybe I'm a lazy eater, but I feel like I have to work harder for not nearly as good of a return with shoestring fries. Sincerely, your fellow fry friend, LW.
There you go.
There you go. Look at that.
We bonded.
You did.
We're two fries in a basket now.
Now we know where the fries are, where they're like, you're 2 fries short of...
There we go.
Two fries
we know
short
where
of a
they're at.
Happy Meal.
They're in a basket.
basket case. So, Spider-Man Blue. First, thanks, LW.
LW.
We appreciate that you took the time to email us, and that it was a more substantial email than the last one. That was just embarrassing for me.
Just like the fries she likes.
More substantial. Yeah, that was a good one. So, what did you guys think overall? What was your opinion of Spider-Man Blue?
I actually really liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I liked it a bit more than slightly more than the hodgepodge we read last time.
Oh, I definitely enjoyed it more than doing a hodgepodge. Although there were moments of the hodgepodge that were
Yeah, there were
excellent.
definitely moments.
Yeah.
Like if we had been reading it, like the whole wedding thing, like the previous part, maybe.
Yeah.
Or like if we read all of like the new Teen Titans stuff
So what you're telling
Maybe.
me is, if you would have read the last 16 years
of comics.
of comics
Yeah.
leading up to that wedding, you may have been a little more
Yep.
emotionally invested.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
this is we should say this is another part of our month of couples or whatever, because Spider-Man Blue is really about Peter and Gwen Stacy,
Yes.
like as a focus. It's about Gwen
Technically, it's a love letter
to
to
Gwen.
Gwen, even though Gwen has passed away.
Yes,
Because
this is post next snap.
It is a
canon event.
love
Recording.
cassette. A love cassette.
That's what it is.
mixtape.
Because he's a photographer, not a writer.
Right.
Yeah, which he says like
Yeah,
in the
that's
very
why,
beginning.
that's why I
Right?
said it. Yeah.
What did you think?
That was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Glad I read it.
me too, because we had a whole discussion of some stuff, and we were like, are we even reading this? And the answer was yes.
Yes.
Because it's good, and I've loved it since I first read it, and I thought, these guys need to read this. So, did you have some favorite stuff? Like, what kind of jumped out? The man in the shadows is Craven the Hunter,
Yes.
which was cool.
Yes. I didn't know that. So, like, I had never stuck with Spider-Man or anything. I know very little about Craven the Hunter. So it was like he had like a profile. So maybe if you had been like in longtime comics, it would have been like, oh, I think I know who that is. But I had no clue. So that was a surprise.
So that was
And then,
cool for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Craven? Plot twist. Also, Jameson,
Yeah.
he had a really funny moment later in the beginning where it was like Peter kept asking him for like money in advance.
Yes.
He's like,
yes,
I
he did.
need the money so my aunt doesn't have to worry about the bills. Jameson says, I had an aunt that kept bugging me about money. And Peter's like, well, whatever happened to her? And he slams the door. She's dead. Slams the door.
I also like when Robbie's like, why do you got to write him like that, Jameson? He's a good kid. And he's like, that's an oxymoron, good kid. That was like, oh, yeah. And you get to see a bunch of different. So it was kind of a retelling of classic stories, like those fights and those things, and Craven setting it up and coming after him. Like all of that kind of stuff has happened in Spider-Man. So it was kind of like this condensed greatest hits thing about this time, this era of Spider-Man from the olden days of comics, but with the focus of Peter's relationship with Gwen and Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I think it's an interesting telling because it isn't focused on the normal plot of Spider-Man, but it is on the plot of Peter and his ladies.
Yes.
Yep.
So
I agree.
yeah. What about you? Was there some stuff that you thought, without us getting straight into our main points, but like just the broader scope of things?
I'm sure there was. But I forgot my notes.
He doesn't have his notes. You can't think of any of it.
I had a rough day yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. You had a long,
rough day yesterday.
Yeah.
So
You had a positive or two in it, though.
I didn't say I didn't.
But it was rough.
It was rough.
Yeah, that's true. So he...
Like a dog.
Do you are you going to be able to answer your structure stuff with
I think
the notes?
so. We'll find out.
Can you do like the thing where you close your eyes and you picture your notes on the page? That's what I do when I'm recalling if I have to think real hard.
I'll try.
But yeah, I like the moments of him being like when he first meets Mary Jane and he's like, "Oh, my aunt's friend's like niece. I'm sure she's going to be like boring and make soup and knit." And he opens the door and it's Mary Jane dressed to go partying.
Right.
Hey, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
So that scene makes me laugh. I think that's hilarious because he's like, oh, and he's like, yeah, and what I expected. What did you guys think of like how the issues would start with the like tape recorder being rewound, like the and like him doing it being like, oh shoot, and then he'd be like,
Don't even remember that.
I thought it was very clever. I actually, overall, like the blue boxes where he's narrating,
where it's
like,
actually what he's saying to the tape recorder.
Yeah, those were like very substantial.
I agree. There was a lot. I think they conveyed a lot of emotion in it, and it wasn't like a heavy read. It read quickly.
Oh yeah. I think it only took me like an hour and a half, maybe.
But it felt the comic itself feels very emotionally substantial in my opinion.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
I agree.
So
especially when he like in the beginning of one of them, he's like, sorry, I fell asleep on my tape recorder and I had a dream about you. And
he's like, for a second, I was like, oh, is this now?
Yeah.
He's like, you were alive again.
Yeah. It was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Like it was very, very heavy.
Yeah. I would say, I believe I read all of the color books, and I'm biased, obviously. I've shared that Spider-Man's a character I really like, but I just think how they choose to focus on Gwen and stuff in this, it just elevates it above the other books.
Yeah.
Because the others do feel more like, in my opinion, more of a retelling of like the origin days, the early days of the hero, just like this did. But it was the fact that, like I said, that this focuses on something that isn't just like the superhero stuff.
Yeah.
So, how funny was that scene when he was swinging by the window intentionally when Flash wasn't looking?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I shouldn't be liking this as much as I do. Because Flash Thompson is the guy who, for those of you who don't know, Flash is the guy that bullies Peter, but is like the number one guy in the Spider-Man fan club, basically.
Yeah.
And so Peter, as Spider-Man, sometimes picks on him a little bit.
So what you're saying is he's the epitome of the oxymoron?
Yep. That's what it is.
Okay.
Pretty much the embodiment of the definition.
And for some
or
reason...
of irony. Because that's ironic.
That is ironic. So for some reason I was thinking his name was Spike, and I don't know why.
Spike Thompson.
I mean, it would work. If it was written in the 90s, it would have been Spike.
Right.
That's what it is. Flash sounds more like that athlete name in the 60s when it came out.
Sure.
Spike would have been the 90s.
That's got to be what I was thinking of.
It would work. Fun facts. So Flash Thompson goes to war. You know, he enlisted, and he goes to war, and he gets injured, loses his legs, serving his country, ends up taking on the Venom symbiote, but it doesn't become a monster. He has control with it, and I can't remember why. But he becomes he's a character that works for like the U.S. government and like S.H.I.E.L.D. called Secret Agent Venom.
Oh.
So he doesn't go to Alabama and start a shrimping business?
Good callback.
Lieutenant.
His name wasn't Lieutenant Flash, okay?
Sorry. He lost his legs. I was just... Fine.
Could you imagine if partway through Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan got the Venom symbiote?
Look, that would have made the book so much better than the movie.
He would have been the one in the rocket.
That's right.
Oh, shoot. Anyway.
Sorry for the tangent.
No. What do you mean? That's all I do.
I know.
But yeah, that there's lots of little parts, just like fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like when Peter buys his motorcycle.
No, that's good.
That's a fun moment where the guy's like, listen, man, you come in here all the time looking, you won't know until you ride it. And then he's like, it's now or never, and buys the bike and gets his big moment, kind of like being the cool kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole thing with Harry and his dad that the movies always capture very well. I always feel like they do.
Yeah. I was expected that to be the thing at the end, but then it
like you thought it would be the Goblin?
Yeah. Because I'm like, it's very suspicious that he's like, hey, Peter, my dad's kind of doing better. Why don't you come live with me? And I'm like, it just smells a bit fishy because like Harry was very suspicious in that entire comic. Like when they were alone in his room and he's like, he got the aftershave and he's talking. I'm like, yeah, it's definitely going to end with the Green Goblin popping back up, but he didn't.
I actually wondered if that was Harry because Harry saw what was going on with the girls. And part of me wondered if he thought by incorporating Peter into his life, he would be able to wedge himself into the lives of the girls.
Yeah, probably.
That's
I mean, that also popped in my head. But then he's like, yeah, my dad's stopping by for a visit.
Yeah. So do you remember in Spider-Man, the first one with Tobey Maguire, when Peter goes to live with Harry and then Norman comes over for Thanksgiving?
Vaguely.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's that's what it reminded me of when he's like, my dad's coming. And it just made me think of like Willem Dafoe coming in for Thanksgiving dinner and how intense that scene is. because that's when Norman in the movie realizes that Peter Parker is Spider-Man
Right.
because he's bleeding. How'd you get that cut? Bike messenger.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta go. But anyway.
Yeah, good times.
So, what, Will? It looked like you had something.
No,
No?
no,
Huh?
no.
Do you have anything?
I got nothing.
It's okay. You're like, it's all in a notebook.
It's gonna be a Herculean effort to get through Structure Steve. So
Oh, okay. Then we might as well start.
Get started.
Let's get into the structure. So, because I feel like there's plenty to, I mean, it was pretty straightforward. So it's like there's a lot to talk about at the same time as not having a lot to talk about. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird. But so did you have a favorite part?
yes, when MJ walks in on Peter in the recording
At the very end,
at the very end
the finale.
and says, "Tell her hi for me."
Yeah, where he's like, "Oh," and he seems like
Right.
he's like, "How much of that did you hear?" Because he was talking about kind of how Mary Jane had kind of interfered with his feelings at the time for Gwen,
Right.
but how he was actually talking about all of that and being in the moment married to Mary Jane. In that scene,
Right.
they
And
are
then-
married. Gwen is dead, and he's recording this to her. And yeah, when she's like, "Oh, you're talking. Tell Gwen I said hi."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my favorite part.
Yeah, that's a great scene. It's the scene that has stuck with me since I first read it.
That was
Yeah, because he did say like he forgot how to love, and he was very cold, but Mary Jane kind of taught him again. Mm-hmm. So like there was that.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah. What about you?
oh, what about me? Favorite part, I think. I don't know. I really liked the what is his name? Dr. Connor.
Oh, the lizard part.
Lizard
yeah, with
man.
Doc
Yeah, because
Connor.
he's like, yeah, I finally have my condition under control enough. I can finally bring my family. And then,
But then he helps with the rhino thing, and it
Yeah.
re-exposes him to the
Yeah.
chemicals.
but then like Spider-Man's fighting him at the end, and at the very last second, the family's like knocking on the door. It's like, what's that sound? It's like, nothing. Sorry, experiment gone wrong. And like all of
The
a sudden,
lab
he's
is like trash.
lab's trashed, and he's back to being a normal guy again.
yeah.
So that brings up something that I think plays heavily into what. So in my opinion, Spider-Man and Batman have the two most notable rogues galleries. We've talked about that a little bit. Most people know a lot of Batman's villains because they're gimmicky and iconic, and Spider-Man's are kind of like that too. But there's a humanity side to many of Spider-Man's. So the Lizard also they have a lot of overlap villains. So at first you'd be like, oh, the Lizard and Killer Croc, those are kind of the same. But actually, the Lizard being Doc Connors and the Man Bat being Kurt Langstrom from Batman, who's also a scientist
yes.
that turns into a bat. Like, those are basically the same idea, where the Doctor is not the bad guy unless he changes into the monster.
Yeah, I mean, he called him like
Dr.
Dr.
Jekyll,
Jekyll,
yeah.
Hyde, and
But they do have a lot of overlapping types of villains. And one thing I enjoy in this, I think it really shows that when Spider-Man's villains are looked at for their humanity sometimes, and Batman has some of those as well. We've talked about that. But I think that's one of the things that elevates them as heroes and makes their stories and their casts more memorable. Because Kurt, he goes out of his way. He doesn't want to hurt Kurt. I mean, not Kurt. Sorry. Now I'm
Connors.
Kurt and Kurt Langstrom.
Kurt and Connor.
Doc Connors. But he doesn't want to hurt Doc Connors because his family's there and he's trying to help him and he wants him to be able to reunite with his son.
Yeah.
And so he goes out of his way to protect this secret for him. And that's very Peter Parker.
And he was swinging away, and he's like, his wife knows about his condition, but she chooses to stay anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good That was a good one. That was that whole issue was really good.
It was.
My favorite part is also the ending. The first time I read it, I was sitting in my car at the time, my little 5-speed Cavalier outside of my apartment. I can't remember if I was getting ready to leave or if I just got back or I was waiting on somebody. I don't remember. And I was sitting there and I read that and I cried in my car. I was so moved by it.
Oh, I felt some emotions
that I cried in my car. And so I cannot forget that. That is like a memory I have. So when we were rereading this, I actually read that this morning.
In your car?
No, in my living room. And I could have gone out and sat in the car.
You could have.
But I was reading it this morning. And while I didn't cry as hard, still cried
Nice,
again.
Nice.
I just get like that kind of stuff and the beauty of that like level of love and Mary Jane. It's really Mary Jane's reaction.
It is.
Is like her love for Gwen and for Peter in that moment of being like, and him kind of almost being afraid he's in trouble.
Right.
And then her being like, nah, just tell her I said hi, you know. It's so moving. It's so good. So yeah, it has to be my favorite scene. Wouldn't matter if it wasn't even the best scene. If it made me cry, it's got to be the best.
Not once.
Twice now.
But twice.
Twice now. I'll admit it. I can't help it. It's just who I am. So, do you have a favorite character?
MJ.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because she's
of
like,
that scene.
That's it. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. What about you?
Spike. Oh, sorry.
No.
The non-existent character that I came up with.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go main hero. I'm just gonna go Peter.
Peter Parker. That was a good choice.
He's a good.
That is an excellent choice.
Because like that scene in the end is good, and it really kind of gives you an idea of like how he's like airing out his guilt. Mm-hmm. Because like it's very prevalent, especially with like that dream, and like all of the usually when it has like those little narration boxes in comics, I kind of just space them out a little bit because it's like, but I actually read these and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of glad I did because it added so much,
Yeah. I'd never space those out. Sometimes those are the most important thing in the comic.
Sometimes there's just
you're just bitter because Asriel's were always whiny and repetitive.
Yeah,
okay?
It left a mark.
He's got PTSD from Asriel's narration box.
Poor Will.
I'm gonna pick Gwen because I just like her character. She's in it a lot. She doesn't say much, but I feel like her character and how endearing she is as a character comes through really well. So I love that scene when he opens the door when she's there for the housewarming party.
Yeah.
What was funny is like, so Tim Sale.
Oh, it was the. This doesn't really matter, but it was his going away party.
Flashes.
Yeah.
Flashes.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it
Peter
was.
doesn't show up for the house party.
That's right. Because it's just them. But he's there for the going away party.
I knew what party you're talking about, though.
Yeah. I forgot there were 2 parties in the apartment.
Yeah.
So.
Happening place.
Yeah, I guess. If you know Harry Osborn.
That's right.
So I love that part when he opens the door, though, and it's her. Because Tim Sale's art is very stylized.
Yeah.
Where like so just to bring up like the Long Halloween and Dark Victory, those look similar to this, like his Batman stuff. It's that same kind of blocky style. This is much brighter and more colorful for them, like overall, because Batman, is a little more, it's a darker vibe. Spider-Man's not. But then when you look at artists like Hush or even Reese, that I think did the Aquaman that we read, and things like that, like the ones that are super detailed and really realistic looking. I think it's interesting because characters can really feel different depending on how they're drawn. And in something like this, where it's highly stylized and it's characters have a specific feel. But what's funny is when he opened the door and there's like that, it's like a splash page of Gwen standing there. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, like to his art of Gwen. And then I laughed because that's what Peter says.
That's what Peter says.
Wow, too. And I was like, oh, he and I were vibing. We had a moment. Peter and I had a moment. And I just thought that was funny because I was like, oh, wow. I like the way he drew her in that page was really cool for his artwork.
It was also like a cool, like, kind of like tandem moment because you get her, and it's like. And
then he goes to shut the door.
Goes to shut the door, and,
and
like,
it's
MJ shoves her foot in, and then she busts in through and be like,
right.
The party's here.
You get the splash page of her right afterwards.
Well, and you get that. Yeah, it is. It's because you see her hand reach in to stop the door, and then the next page is her, and then she kisses him on the cheek and calls him her guy again. So yeah, I like that part too, when he's like, well, when a girl says my guy, it's like, it does something to him. And it's like, yeah, calling us my anything.
I mean, he's not wrong.
It gets you. Yeah, your guy, your dude, whatever it is. Unless it's another dude and your boy or whatever, that is not the same.
Right.
Yeah. It's just not. But anyway, did you have a least favorite scene?
There
were no mousers.
There were no mousers, so no. I'm gonna say no. I didn't really have a least favorite scene. I thought about something that I could bring up during this, and then I promptly forgot it.
Welcome
thinking.
to my world.
I don't remember what it was.
Well, we'll move to Will.
Maybe
it
was like Craven using his cologne as scent to track him.
Because you're thinking, how many other people have that cologne?
Right?
Is that what you were thinking?
It's not the only one. And then, like, what happened could have very easily happened.
Yeah.
Somebody else borrowing your cologne. I mean, hey.
A bit contrived.
Whatever, but.
That is a very good point, because in that, he's like, right beforehand, he's watching all the videos, like the gameplay footage of Spider-Man versus, like, the Rhinoceros and Lizard Man and. What are they called? Vulcans? Vultures?
Vulcans.
I don't remember.
They live long and prosper?
Yeah.
Doc
he's like,
Ock
I've studied them and I know what their failures are. I will not fail. And he tracks the wrong guy. Yeah. He immediately fails. Like fails. It wasn't even, he didn't like almost win.
I like that Peter's like, in that one scene where he's like, yeah, Craven never tried that again because I'm pretty sure his ego couldn't admit that what he did.
Right.
Yeah.
But and that being said, I wasn't upset with it.
No,
that was me nitpicking because
yeah.
You're asking me for something that...
Where really you're like, no, I didn't really dislike anything, but if
I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
agreed.
About same scene?
Yeah. I would concur with Pat.
I'm trying to think if there was.
I didn't really have one until he said that. I'm like, yeah, that was kind of dumb when he was just like, oh yes, I know exactly how to win, and then immediately failed.
I also like how Harry is like, I am the wrong guy, and he's like, you can't fool me, and I'm thinking, you don't think he'd be like fighting back by now? That was my.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know. I thought that as well. I could get behind you on that one. I'm trying to think if there was another one.
Look,
though.
I'm going to be honest. This is weird. You guys agreeing with me?
I know you guys both had the same favorite.
I'm trying to think if there's another
Pat
scene I disliked.
I kind of
was like, I kind of disliked how. That moment where they both come to like help him when he's sick.
Oh yeah.
And how he
just blows him off.
How he has to blow him off like that. And like, I don't know. It just,
I don't know if he really had to.
That's what I was thinking. And I was like, do I like that? I don't know.
I mean, it was
But-
kind of funny when he's like lying there, and then they're both in there in the corner. You see like the two vultures flying through the air. He's like, I gotta go.
I just like that Flash is like, what is he doing? How? What? They're both in there?
Yeah.
He's like beside himself. He's like, Parker.
Although I feel like they may have put that scene in there to just show how he is, even though he likes those two as much as he does, he's still prioritizing Spider-Man over
Because that's what he does.
everything else. Right. It was just
Yeah, that's the point, right? He says it always is bad before it's good for him.
right.
Yeah. And
So-
he laments in one of those little blue boxes about how he did spend a lot of his time out there in the suit fighting instead of spending time and
Right.
having
He does.
opportunities with Gwen Stacy. And
Sure. Anyway,
Did you have a least favorite character?
I mean, once again,
I know who it's going to be,
not really,
but
but
you're going to pick the bully. Are you going to pick the bully?
Boy?
Flash?
Spike?
You're going to pick Flash?
No, I'm not going to pick Flash
Usually, if there's a bully, it ends up being your least favorite.
because his name's Spike. No,
Who's Flash?
I think I would pick Craven because he was just way too arrogant.
He's one of the main villains in the new Spider-Man game, the Spider-Man 2
Oh,
game
is he?
on PS5.
Nice.
Yeah, he is like the main bad guy for a large portion of the game.
Does he track you with your cologne?
just switch brands.
I know, right?
Problem
Yeah.
solved.
Done.
He did. That's how he foils you in the first mission. He's like, I followed your scent. Why do you wear Chanel?
That'd be a funny little comic. It like Spider-Man buys Johnny Depp's cologne because he does cologne commercials.
Oh,
And then Craven's
Di-
like, I
Dior.
finally, yeah,
yeah.
I finally found him, and it's like Johnny Depp doing an interview.
So
Wow.
I think it wasn't Flash because I mean
Because
while he was a bully, he did
he changed.
try to better himself.
He
and
did.
He
He
tried
did.
to go to the military and do things.
By the end, he was even treating Peter a little less bad.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he has a redemption arc.
Yeah.
He does. He lets Spider-Man be a true inspiration to his life.
Craven, on the other hand, no redemption arc.
Bonehead.
Cologne head.
Cologne head. So,
I got to pick. What is it? Blackish Dragor, the young vulture guy.
oh, Blackie.
Blackie, yeah.
Yeah.
Blackish, whatever.
The
Yeah,
dude
That's
who
also
breaks
a
out
good
of
one.
prison.
That's also a good one. Yeah.
He was just like dumb.
Well, part of me was like, this. Part of me was like, this has to just be in this because it's like a reference back to old characters in comics or like this conflict that was there. But I was like, what is this? I thought that too.
Yeah.
Because when I think of Vulture, I think of the
old
normal old guy.
Yeah.
And so I was
And
like,
it
okay.
like Craven set up to get the young guy out of prison, right?
Right.
By poisoning the old vulture.
Right.
And then he's like, oh, this new guy's not quite up to snuff. Let's go back to that prison,
So he cures
fix the old
vulture.
guy,
Yeah.
and then breaks him out of prison. Just have both of them lose.
Right.
Why wouldn't he start with the old one though?
That's what I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's kind of funky.
Because he was relying on strength and agility over experience.
Yeah.
And we all know that never works.
No.
Except for when he's 80.
What?
He-
Anyway.
He looked real old.
He did look pretty old.
The
Like-
vulture?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's part of his shtick.
Well, I'm sure. But that was his.
Well, it's a pretty knobby shtick. Like, it's an old wrinkle that's got a couple bends in it.
Wow. Knobby shtick. That's where we're going.
That's
with
a
it.
T-shirt. That's a knobby shtick.
Are we not doing phrasing anymore? No, I was. Yeah, that was the old guy's whole thing. It's my experience is better than you, no matter what. And I hate to break it to people, but that's not always the case.
I really liked the scene though with them, where he rides the one into the other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
That was awesome. What does he yell? Ramming speed, ramming speed. he just rides one of them into the other one, and that's hilarious because Peter Parker follows up with, and that is how you kill two birds with one stone.
Right. Yeah, that was good stuff.
He did have a lot of good quips.
I'm sure Patrick was like, "This is my inner person, outer
Well, yeah,
sized."
sure. I thought those words exactly. Inner person, outer sized. Put it on a shirt.
It's just quips. It would be exactly how you would operate. Pretty much.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to break it to you, but that's kind of how I operate right now.
I know. See, where Peter Parker doesn't do that as much, Patrick's the opposite. He's actually stoic when he puts his costume on.
Right.
And his everyday persona is like the quippy Spider-Man version.
Exactly.
That's...
Wait, I mean, no, what are you talking about?
Stop. No. Oh, no.
I'm not a superhero, I promise.
So I'm going to go ahead and say my least favorite person was Harry.
I think everybody had hair.
So your least favorite person was named Harry? Your least favorite person was Harry.
Why didn't I think of saying that? I clearly got past my kung fu
I did.
defenses.
I 100%
and I got
Wait,
both
we've
of
got a
you
beat.
punched me on each side. No, I don't. I like that Harry defends him early on, like to Flash. But there is that whole vibe that you feel like Harry's got ulterior motives. He's not being... There's just something underhanded that it feels like he's doing.
I mean, it's Harry.
What is?
It's a Harry situation.
I'll let the listener decide.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, it was also kind of like weird when he's like, yeah, he's an okay guy. He never changed it. He was like, oh yeah, he's a good
He's an
kid.
okay guy.
He's like, he's an okay kid. He's okay.
I keep
And I'm
telling
like-
you, he's an okay guy. Yeah, it was like a mantra.
It was,
like, and so yeah, part of me is like, something feels a little questionable.
Because he just felt like he was using Peter.
For something, even
For
though he was
something.
giving Peter a free place to stay,
Right.
There's
But
no
yeah.
such thing as a free lunch.
unless you're on the program.
Depends on who's paying.
Depends on who. Somebody's always paying.
Somebody might pay
the
for it, but somebody
bill
else got it for free.
always comes due.
Sadly.
Yeah. So yeah,
Gosh dang mortgage.
not that I think that, like, again, saying that there's a least favorite character or least favorite scene in this, it's nitpicky.
It is.
It is.
Very
It's
nitpicky.
so nitpicky because the whole story was so tightly done
Yeah.
and just woven
was good
like
stuff.
really, really well. So,
Mm-hmm.
should we do it out of 5 Valentines, since I believe
Oh,
this is
yeah.
going to release on Valentine's Day? And for those of you who didn't read, since we didn't talk about this, but Gwen leaves Peter a Valentine in the final issue, and he thinks it's from Aunt May.
Yes.
And it's really from Gwen. And she sneaks back in after everybody left. And he's half naked, has his shirt off. And they have their first kiss and embrace.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Wow.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
That's right.
Oh,
Is that the censored version? Or?
Yes.
so, but then, she was like, did you see that Valentine? Did you read it? Will you be mine? So I figure, we could have been like cassette tapes or whatever, but we had to do Valentine's.
Yeah.
Might as well do Valentine's.
Do Valentine's.
I'm pretty sure this is coming out on Valentine's Day.
It is.
I didn't double check. This might be the third. Is the 14th
That's next.
next Wednesday?
Yes.
Cool. So this actually releases. Today is Valentine's Day, is what that means.
Yes.
So yeah, this is our Valentine's to you all, I suppose. So, out of 5 Valentines, San Valentin, what are you doing, Patrick?
I mean, it's really difficult. But I think I'm going to give it a 5.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you wouldn't suggest this to somebody.
Yeah, I would.
It's such a contained story that it's even on. Hey, here's a fun fact for all of you listener out there. If you have Kindle Unlimited because you like to read a whole bunch of garbage books, because there's so many on there.
There really is a lot.
This is on Kindle Unlimited. You don't have to have
nice.
Comixology. You don't have to have the Marvel app. If you have Kindle, you can get this for free through Kindle Unlimited.
I wonder
Spider-Man
if
Blue.
it's in like Libby and stuff too.
I would guess this is on Libby.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if it isn't because
I'm
it's
sure somebody can
published
find
as
out.
a single thing as well. But yeah. Anyway, Will,
It's obvious it's going to be a 5.
oh, I thought you were going to say a 1. You just were like,
I'm going to be honest. I almost said a 6.
ooh, that good, huh?
I enjoyed
Found
it.
a bonus Valentine in your drawer.
That's right. Oh my.
Wow. I didn't say in your drawers.
I mean, that's what we thought.
You
but-
did now.
If you found a bonus Valentine in your drawers, well, that's just a normal Valentine.
What?
What? Anyway,
What
moving
about you,
on.
Chris? I think we can assume.
Spider-Man Blue is not on Libby. It has a thing that's you can read samples of it for some reason, but it has notify me if it's ever like brought into the catalog. That is odd. You would think they would have that, but whatever.
You would think.
Mine's a 6. So
Nice.
I found the bonus.
You found the bonus Valentine.
Yeah, come on. I said it made me cry. What more could something do to get a 5?
It made me cry. 2 stars.
I hated it. My pages got wet.
Anything that makes me cry automatically hate it.
2 stars.
I don't cry. Nothing makes me cry my own tears. Oh, that's dumb.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
That's what I was quoting.
I know.
Okay. Well, cool. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it that much. It was one of the very early suggestions I put on the list because, like I said, I've always thought very highly of it. I've always enjoyed it. So I'm glad that you guys did too. And for those of you that read along, hope you enjoyed it. Email us. Let us know if you also think that it's worthy of your 5. If it made you cry at the end, make me feel like I'm not alone. And also, if you didn't read it, but you've enjoyed Spider-Man in the past as a character, with all of the different ways to get your hands on this digitally, we would suggest that you really should read this. This would actually be a great first comic book for people. It's very accessible. It's pretty straightforward. It's tight, like it's super tightly written, and it's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
So if you haven't tried comics yet, and you've been thinking about it, listening to our buffoonery, grab this. Do it. This is a great first one.
Do it.
Do it.
You won't.
What?
It's a new trendy thing.
Huh?
Yeah.
Are you
You
playing?
challenge them.
You're not gonna do it.
Yeah,
It's just reverse psychology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. You
yeah. Nah, we know you're not gonna.
Is this
Yeah.
a new trendy thing?
I thought people have been doing that since like.
I don't. You said do it, and it's the first thing that popped in my head. And
Number 4.
I even made sure to take it out of my shirt pocket when I took my shirt off. Well, I mean, I have my shirt on.
Yes, he is wearing a shirt. He did not take
I
his
took an
shirt
outer
off.
shirt off.
is
my
it shirtless spaghetti time, Chris? Get out of here.
No.
No.
And on that note,
Well, I mean, I have a very important question for the listener. Will you be my Valentine?
Oh, that was sweet.
Let me know at Longbox at guyswithissues.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to
Yeah.
extend that invitation as well?
No. I don't check the emails. So.
I'm usually the first one to read them. So if you have a Valentine,
Not always. I read them pretty quick.
you do.
Anyway, I guess that means I'm Patrick.
This is Will.
And I'm Chris. And we are guys with issues who have shirts on.
Thank goodness.
And no spaghetti.
Wah, wah.
Ah, jeez. You can catch Guys with Issues anywhere you can find your favorite podcasts. Or check out our website at guyswithissues.com, where you can listen, find reading lists, follow along, and get to know us better. Send us emails to longbox@guyswithissues.com and tell us your thoughts. Send us suggestions on what we should read next. We would love to hear from our listeners.
That was Clapping Patrick.
That was just me putting
Patrick
audio
clapping.
back in. So
It's a
he
pat
knows where to
clap.
cut to.
Pat clap.
It's a pat clap.
Please
It's a
stop
pat clap.
saying that I have the clap. It's not true.
Ooh. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that it's not true. That's what you heard first.